Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a mid-year planner check-in. I thought it might be fun to come on and chat a little bit about how my planners and journals have or haven't changed for me since the beginning of 2023. I did film a planner lineup video to start the year, so I will just chat about the things that I've mentioned in that video and if anything new has been added. If you've been following along, you will likely know that I started the year in a completely different planner than I am currently in. I had my eye on the A5 size Take a Note since probably the last quarter of 2022, and it is a beautiful planner. I think it is absolutely gorgeous and well made and great for anyone who is looking for this particular style. I've made a whole video talking about why I did make the switch, but this planner was at times fun and frustrating for me. Looking back, I actually love flipping through these pages, but part of the big problem with this planner for me was that that's what I was thinking about, the final product, instead of actually enjoying the process of using it. And while this is fun after the fact, I've learned that it's more important for me to use my planner functionally than worry about how it looks. You can see this is about the point where I got frustrated and I just wasn't coming in here regularly because it didn't feel like a place where I could just jot down what I needed to. I was thinking about layout and stickers, and all of those things are fun, and if you enjoy that, that's great, but for me it was just stressing me out and, like I said, making me not want to come in here at all. So I did switch to just kind of a scribbly writing system, which I liked so much better. And I did have 3 full months in here. I mean, if you consider this full, which I do, I mean, I was using it in tandem with sticky notes, which are the true backbone of my planning system. But I did come across another planner that was really, really calling to me, and that is when I decided to make a switch. So you may be familiar with this guy now. This is my B6 Papertess Designs yearly notebook. It's a planner in my Elysian Papers cover. And this has just been a joy to use. It has enough structure that it lets me do any kind of forward planning, and if I don't feel like making spreads, I mean, this isn't very complicated what I've been doing, but even if I don't feel like doing this much, I can just use this section and it will work for me. I also love having these blank pages so that I can put collections throughout and I don't need to worry about how much space I'm using for my daily logs. I'm feeling really, really settled in this planner and I'm just having a lot of fun using it. And even on the days where I'm feeling lazy or I'm just not feeling it, it is easy enough to just come in and jot things down. For the first 2, I think, for the first 2 months, I haven't used any stickers really at all, maybe a little bit of ephemera here and there. And that also helped me get back to basics. So this is my biggest change in my whole 2023 lineup. The other thing to note about this particular setup is because it does have the 7 blank pages between every weekly spread, it gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of adding collections or doing longer form memory keeping in here. Usually for me, my memories are just these little heart icons. It might be a note icon. It just depends on my mood, really. And sometimes I will do bigger spreads like this. And because I have been doing more memory keeping in here, I have not been in my journal or memory keeper the way that I planned. I did get a Hobanichi A6 for this year. This is a full year Japanese version, and I plan to use it as a memory keeper / journal. I use those interchangeably. For me, my journaling is more about, well, keeping track of my memories of the things that have happened instead of a more long form working through of my emotions. And that's just my own preference, obviously. I knew I loved this size. I have used it before, and I started out using it a very little bit, still sporadically, but a few spreads here and there. I didn't cover anything up, so I don't want to get into it too much. But basically what I have been doing in here is my 1 sticker a day memory keeping. And I haven't even been super consistent with that. So February and March haven't been done. I might go back and fill them in. I might not. I'm not going to stress myself out about it. But here we have April and May, and I film these videos. I love going through my stickers and having a chance to use them and just feeling like I'm hanging out with you guys. And I plan on continuing to do this. In terms of the rest of the journal, this is something where I have to consciously kind of talk to myself and remind myself that it doesn't have to be complete to be something that I enjoy or can use. Part of me thinks that I need to back plan. I don't want all these empty pages. And the rest of me recognizes that there's still 6 months left in the year. Like, there's a lot of memory keeping or journaling, whatever I want, that I can do in these pages. I also am gentle with myself and the fact that I might not get in here as much as I thought, and to be okay with that. Because so much of my memory keeping is being done in my planner this year, I just haven't been drawn to this nearly as much as in past years. I didn't expect that, but it is what it is, and it's okay. I'm still using, obviously, the front section, and I think I might just come in here and practice, honestly, hand lettering and quotes and using some stickers and washi tape because I've done so little of that in my planner, but we will see what happens. As it stands, that is the update on my journal or memory keeper for this year. I also talked about my goal planner for 2023, and this was my first year using this Dreambook and planner. And this is a hefty situation. It has a lot of what I would consider the prep work and is also a planner in its own right. So it does have this kind of weekly spread that goes with the way that they set up their goals and intentions. And this is very, very neat. I never planned on using this as a planner, but I wanted to use the goal setting part, and I really didn't. I did start this, and the parts that I did actually really enjoy and find helpful, but I just didn't make my way through it. And it's honestly, it's a little bit overwhelming for me. I do like doing that kind of deep dive into myself and my motivations and my wants and my needs and all of that fun or intimidating stuff. But this year was just not the year for me. That's fine. I'm guessing I probably won't be in this again. I did have a couple of weeks back that I wanted to open it back up and just read some of these sections, maybe help myself kind of recalibrate and see what I could use from here. And I didn't do it because, again, it felt overwhelming. So that's just something I know for me when I'm thinking about goal planning next year. I'm actually not thinking about it yet, but when I do, I will definitely reflect on what my needs are at this time and meeting myself where I am. So I'm keeping it for now. I have it as a great resource because, like I said, it does have a lot of information, and for the most part, it resonates with me. So we will see how it goes, but this has not been something that I have been in since probably January, when I was still working through some of these first kind of reflection and planning pages. I believe I also mentioned this guy in my lineup video. This is an old Hobanichi Weeks that I have repurposed as my reading journal. I have a whole video on my setup, and I love this little thing so, so much. I will never do a flip through of it. It feels too personal to share all of the random things that I read and enjoy. But you can see, like I said, how I've set it up, and I'm just using it the exact same way. So this was the 2022 Hobanichi, and it was just a great way to reuse it. So so I have just a lot of blank pages left, but I have used the first 26 of them, and I've also used some of the spreads throughout. And this one is a long-term setup. I'm just going to use this until it's full. It's not just for this year, it's ongoing. It's great. I still want to add an elastic to it. And yeah, if you're someone who likes to track your reading, having a reading journal is always fun. And then we have these two planners, which I have not touched at all. So I mentioned in other videos that I do always like to order a Hobanichi Weeks as a kind of security blanket planner. If all else fails, I know that I can use this, and I'm also pretty good now about not being precious with it. So I believe I got the Mega. I have it in a Catspresso Co cover. Yep, it's the Mega, and it's here for if I need it. I haven't, so I will see what happens for the rest of the year, and I can always repurpose it like I did with last year's. And if it does come to the end of the year and I haven't touched it at all, I will consider whether or not I need another one, another security blanket for 2024. This is also a Hobanichi. This is my 5-year journal. I have had this since 2020, and as much as I want to, I have never been consistent with it. Oh, I've had it since 2021. Okay. So I do have some entries in here, mostly in the front. And this one is hard for me because this is something that I want to use. I love looking back and seeing what I was doing in years past, and that is the whole reason that I got this. I know that about myself. What I am also learning about myself, though, is just that it feels, I think, too redundant for me to write anything in here after I've already done my planner entry for the day. I do think this one is more about routine than anything else. I think if I could set up a consistent routine, now that I'm using my fountain pens more, maybe that's something I would enjoy using in here. But I haven't been hard on myself about this. I already have it. Like I said, I bought it years ago. I have used it a bit, not very much. And this is one of those systems I just consider here for me when or if I do want to get back into it. And while theoretically I do, practically it's just not happening yet, and that's okay. You'll notice that's kind of a theme for me and my planners and journals. I do try really hard to meet myself where I am and to be realistic about what I need versus what I love and admire and what I will actually use. I cannot lie, I have been tempted to buy other 5-year journals, whether Hobanichi or Midori has some beautiful ones, so that I can start fresh, and have it completed. But I have been pretty good at reminding myself that there are still, 2.5 more full years I can do in here. Anything would be better than nothing, and who knows, that's not to say I won't change my mind later, but right now, if I'm not using this one, I'm certainly not going to use another one consistently. So we have it, it exists, and we'll see what happens. And the last thing that I wanted to share is something new that I've added since my initial lineup video. This isn't a planner as much as it is a project. And this is my first chapters journal, which I've mentioned before and is inspired by Amy at Ayachan91 Journals on Instagram. I will link her below, and basically it is a way to use my fountain pens and my ink samples and to get that enjoyment without having to journal and kind of deep dive into my own head or mood or emotions, which sometimes I am just not feeling. I have completely copied Amy's style and setup and layouts because they're just so good. So this is a Cosmo Air Light notebook from Danica58 on Etsy. I don't remember how many pages it has. I've started numbering them, but yeah, there's a lot, so I haven't gotten there yet. There's definitely, I think I've gotten up to 200. Yeah, so maybe 400-ish, just under. I'm not sure, but it just has a brown cardstock heavy duty cover, and I covered it myself with an old gift bag, which I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. Like you can see there's some here because I didn't do the measurements correctly, but I wanted something that would just protect it a little bit, and this does that. So I just did a little picture there. I have a table of contents. That's why I am numbering the pages, just so I can flip easier. The title, the page. I figured I might do just a quote on reading or something here, but I haven't. Maybe a sticker. I do have some cute vinyls for reading, I think. So title, kind of the publishing information, book description. This is what's on the back of the book. The pen and ink or inks that I might be using. And my thoughts. And then I just go in and, like it says, I transcribe the first chapter of the book. So I did Anne of Green Gables first. I had to switch inks because I ran out of my sample there. Little House in the Big Woods. This was a really fun ink to use. The Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, I'm not sure. I have heard it's being discontinued, which is disappointing though, because I got some really excellent shading with this one. I think it's partially the way that I hold my pen and also the Cosmo Air Light paper. It's just fun to flip through, and I will sometimes just put on music or a podcast in the background. And it's like a mindful activity for me, which is really nice. It lets me get out of my own head and just into the rhythm of something that I enjoy. And I really like being able to write, to play with my fountain pens and my inks without having to worry about, I don't know, either planning with the pens or journaling and how that feels. Like this is just fun. It just lets me sit and write. I mean, you guys know, I probably don't have to explain that that's just a really satisfying practice in and of itself. I started this with a Colorverse Andromeda ink, but it just never dried. It's beautiful, it's a sheening ink, but I had to switch because it was driving me crazy. I don't know if it's the paper and the ink combo, paper, ink, pen. I'm also super heavy-handed, but this is also an absolutely beautiful color too. So these are the inks here. And this is the book that I'm currently on, A Wrinkle in Time. I've started with some of my childhood favorites, if you can't tell. And this has been such a lovely, lovely addition to my lineup this year. I'm in and out of this throughout the week whenever I have, you know, some free time or a moment when I want to do something, but I don't really know what I want to do. That's usually when I will gravitate towards this. So here we have my updated situation for 2023. Some things have changed, some things have stayed the same, and most importantly, I am using and enjoying the things that I'm currently in. I'm giving myself grace for the things that I thought might work out and haven't. And I'm just trying to meet myself where I am and enjoy the process. I would love to know if you found your planner system changing or staying the same this year, so please do feel free to share in the comments. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.